Hi, my name's Mandy from Mandy Sorts It Out, and this is the second part of my video series on how I budget. In my first video, I looked at how I set my budget and why I set it at the figures I did. And this video is to look at how I review the budget, how I check that I'm doing okay. So I shall move on now to looking at the pages I create when I review my budget. Thank you. I hope you can see this clearly enough. This is my weekly review I do every week on my budget to see how it's going, because although when I played back my video on the budget, it did sound like I was very laissez-faire about whether or not I went over the budget. Actually, I'm not. I'm really determined to try to stick within the budget. I'm just not really sure if the figures I've put down are achievable. And I won't really know that until I give it a go. But I'm going to do my best to stick to the budget as best as I can, because that's the only way I'm going to achieve my objectives, which is to be able to take the trips away that I want to take. So I thought if I did a weekly review, I'd be able to see exactly where I am every week. I started doing the weekly reviews on the 7th of June. This is the last one I've done, which was to the 21st of June. It was the 4th week of the second month, because I started my budget on the 24th of April, 25th of April actually. Very silly day to start. I just couldn't wait until the 1st of May, and I'm going to make up for that in month 3. I've decided month 3 is going to be 5 weeks. It's going to be from the 25th of June until the 1st of July, but we're looking at the second month here at the moment. So what I've done in this week is I've written down everything I spent. As you can tell, it wasn't a very demanding week. I didn't spend an awful lot of money. This is actually what I spent. I spent £13.54 on food. I spent £5 on a phone. I put all the spending here, whether it's monthly or annual. And this is one of my annual costs, my gifting. I spent £10 on a gift for a child. I just sent them the £10 actually. I didn't spend it on a gift. I also write down any income I've got. So I sold some things on Vinted and I made £2. So then I go and look at the month. And although it's only the 21st of June, the month is from the 25th of May to the 24th of June. And I list out all the categories I've got in my monthly budgets, how much I had at the start of the month, how much I've spent, and what remains. And you'll see that there's an overspend on one of them, which is phone. All the rest are underspends. And the reason that there's an overspend on the phone is that I decided to change my phone provider. I was on a pay-as-you-go with Tesco. For £5, I would get 500 megabytes of data a month, and I would get a certain amount of call minutes and text minutes. And when I was in Asda, I picked up one of their leaflets and realised that for £5 on an Asda mobile, I would get 3 gigabytes of data with unlimited phone minutes and texts. And now I have an Asda phone, and I'm just waiting for the number to transfer over. Then I look at the year. That's the year from 25th of April to 24th of April 2016. And that's all the annual budgets. And what I've done there is I've just multiplied 221 by 12 to get the monthly annual budget. And I've put down how much I've spent that year, so this would be for both months, on all those budgets, and then what is remaining. And you know, it's looking quite healthy. I had an underspend last month, and I've got another underspend looking as if it's coming this month. At the moment, £86.63 as at the 21st of June. But when my month end was on the 24th of June, and I I looked at it all again. I reviewed my situation again at the end of the month. So this is the month 2 review on the 24th of June. And I've got my monthly budgets there, how much I had at the start, how much I spent, how much was remaining with my overspend there. And there's an underspend for the whole thing of £68.36, which I don't think is bad at all for an initial sum of £221 for all those things. And what I'm doing, as I think I tried to explain earlier, but I'm not sure how I'm doing it, is I'm keeping a record of any income that comes in that is different, is extra to the income that was in my budget. My budget, the income was £1,500 a month, and that came from the rental of my home overseas and some bank interest and some premium bonds. I was a bit dubious about whether or not I would get all that income in reality, so I set my spending at £1,480. I want to keep an eye on what my underspends are so that I'm not assuming I've underspent and then find myself spending, oh, I can spend on that, you know, especially impulse buys, because I'm very prone to an impulse buy. And it's good to know yourself, and it's good to know what you need to do to rein yourself in as well. So last month, the first month, I had extra income of £126.02. That came from the underspend, which I think was around about £60 that month. I also worked for the council. I worked the council elections and I earned about £50 because although it was only 2 hours to count the election, you will get paid for a minimum of 4 hours in Leicestershire anyway when you do the count for the council elections. I also had some vintage sales, so that all made that sum up. The first month I thought I was going to use all of that extra money to make donations, but this is before I really thought about my income and really thought, I'm really not sure I'm actually going to get all that income, the same income that I got last year, which is what I was basing it all on, because I just might not get the premium bonds again. So I decided to be a little bit more canny and just see how it goes and put donating aside for the time being. That's why there's no donation this month. But the income this month comes from that £68.36 underspend is in there. Plus I had compensation this month in the sum of £120 from 2 different bodies who had made some mistakes with my financial situation. So I think I'll keep a running total of things like this, and keeping these records will be very good when it comes to do my tax, because I'll know what sort of income I've had and from what sources. Over the 2 months, I've had £329 income. I don't expect to get that every month. I think it's been a bit of a fluke that both months I've had really good income. And the donations, I'll keep a record of that as well. And then I go on to look annually. So these are my annual budgets, and right at the bottom is my monthly budget, which has been multiplied by 12 to show the annual figure. And that is last month's spending and this month's spending added up, and how much is remaining on those budgets. And it's just a good little snapshot. It helps me see where I'm going, helps me feel confident that I can comply with this budget if I keep doing the work and making the effort. And I've already started my next review for next week. I write things down as they happen, but I'm not going to talk about that now because it isn't that week yet. So I hope this has been helpful to know how I budget, and next month is going to be a 5-week month. I'm going to do from the 25th of June to the 1st of July. So I've amended all the figures. So it means my annual budget will be for a year and a week, which isn't ideal. It's just how it's going to be. And the reason I'm doing this is because the app I'm using doesn't really work. I'd quite like to keep the figures on the app for the previous month, but to do that I have to go monthly, calendar monthly with my figures. So that's what I'm going to do going forward. And this week is just a bit of a fudge really to get there. And I've thought about the extra week, which will be from the 25th of April to the 31st of April. And I don't think any of my monthly expenses are used during that time. So I don't think there's any insurance that goes out. I don't think there's any car payments that go out. So I don't see any problems in just adding that week, because it should be a week where there isn't any of the annual spending going through, because that would be a problem if I ended up having 2 chunks of insurance going out in 1 year. Obviously, that would really skew the figures. So I think it's all right. I think it's going to work. Thank you very much for watching and supporting my channel, and I'll see you next time.